anyone's going to speak tonight, please stand up and raise your right hand and take an oath, or you will not be called to speak. If you do not take an oath, you will not speak tonight. Thank you.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in the matters now in hearing? Thank you.
You have a motion to waive the minutes in the meeting?
Mr. Chairman, move to accept and waive the reading of the minutes for the regularly scheduled meeting of May 27, 2025.
Second.
On the motion, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so moved. On the old business, ZBA 2510, out of Ward 6, JBC Architects LLC for finding and construct, huh? Oh. To construct a 2.5-story, 7.5 by 20 feet 5-inch side addition, increasing the bedrooms to 3 full and 2 half baths. Finished height will be on the first floor and the second floor, retaining the current height of the roof as it is now on 66 Middle Street. The applicant or representative here, Chubb, you have the floor, brother.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. My name is Jim Chen, architect at JCBT Architect. So this is the third continuance hearing for this project. This is 66 Middlesex. Just to recap what was updated for this hearing, the zoning dimensional form has been updated for your record.
All right.
So the proposed is calls for raising the first floor to 9 feet, where currently is 7 feet 2. And then the second floor will be 8 feet, whereas currently is 7 foot 4. And then the overall building height will remain exactly the same to match the existing height, which is 26 feet point 1 to the peak of the roof.
So you're gonna take this down on the first floor.
Correct.
So you're gonna take it almost down the foundation. The first floor is coming down too, all in walls.
Well, the exterior wall, whatever can be usable, they can save that.
But you're
exactly.
raising it 2 feet, right?
Yeah, it's 2 feet.
So you're gonna be adding to every stud anyway, right?
Correct.
Why don't you just take it down? It's not
Yeah.
even, be easier. That's your call, I guess. Inspectional services would be there. I don't have any questions. He did everything we asked him.
No question.
No questions.
No questions.
Likewise.
You can have a seat.
Thank you.
Is there anyone here that wants to speak in favor with the changes? Second call, third call. Call a part of the hearing closed, nothing for DPW. Is anyone opposed or undecided? First call, second call, third call. Make a motion, please.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, ZBA 2510, Ward 6, JCBT Architect LLC for a finding to construct a 2.5-story, 7.5 foot by 20.5 foot side addition, increasing the bathroom to 3 full and 2 half baths, finished basement playroom, demolishing the attic and the second floor to increase the height of the ceiling on the first and second floors, retaining the current height pitch of the roof when reconstructed on the premises numbered 66 Middlesex Street, Quincy, Mass. I move to allow the petition.
Second.
On the motion, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Thank you.
Further on the old business, ZBA 2511, manual paper for a variance, the special permit to demolish the existing dwelling and rebuild the same footprint, 3 stories, compliant dwelling with the 4-stall garage on the ground level of premise number 656 C Street. The applicant or representative here. Name and address for the record, please.
My name is Manuel Paiva. My address is 20 Varsity Place. That's in Bridgewater, Mass. And I represent the homeowner who is here tonight.
Yeah.
I just got one quick question. I thought I asked to make something like a New England home here, and this is far from I see that. Change the windows, do some stuff, make it like New England style. You're taking up everyone's view in that whole area, but yet you come back with like panels. Just a question, why'd you do that?
We removed the, want me to go through the changes?
Go ahead.
Okay. So this was the site plan previously generated. When I left the meeting, inspection services mentioned that we needed a second means of egress, which was a stairway to the second floor. So that was changed and submitted. So that was the change on the site plan, was that stairway. On the basement ground floor, the suggestion was to take the 16-foot wide doors to 18 feet wide. That was accomplished. In doing so, we removed the 2 storage rooms inside because now it's space for the vehicles. Again, the stairway, the exterior stairway, and the window in the foyer is now bumped out to create a shadow line and a sill line. That's facing C Street. On the first floor plan, the changes were, again, you can see the windows on the family room, dining room, and bedroom 1, again, bumped out to create a shadow line. On C Street, we added a window at the end of the hallway, at the stairway down. We added another window on the front elevation utility storage room. On the second floor, the office it continued from the bathroom all the way to the utility room. We've split that room and created a grandkids den. So now we have the office and a den. Same changes where there's a window at the end of the hallway. Bedroom 2 has a bump out sill to create a shadow line. So does bedroom 4 with another window at the end of the hallway and utility storage. These were the previously generated elevations. Vinyl siding with stucco on the bottom. And if you notice now, we went to an architectural panel. We added a hip roof to the roof to create some shadow lines. You can see the 3 windows on the front elevation now that jet forward by 1.5 feet, keeping the contemporary design. And we also created a 36-inch awning or overhang that comes across the garage, and then it wraps on C Street. Exterior stairway you can see there again. And that roof line comes out 5 feet, so it covers the balcony where before it was open. There was the previous rear and side elevation. Again, going with the architectural panels on the street view, which is C Street down on the bottom right, with another window that bumps out to create a shadow line. We kept the vinyl siding on the rear elevation. 599 C Street under construction is kind of what we modeled the panel system after. And that, again, that's the same exhibit from before showing the setbacks to a buildable lot. That is my summarization of the changes.
Because you put a roof on, you're up over 35 feet. So I want that house 35 feet max. That's my thing. Whatever
Yeah,
you
that-
do with your floors, you gotta do. Whatever you gotta do with whatever. You gotta
That
do.
was increased by 4 feet, yes, sir.
Now I got one good question for you. Are these rentals? Are they rentals?
No, sir.
They're not, all right.
No, sir.
What would you do if I told you someone come down to the office today and ask when their apartment's gonna be ready? Because it's a 2-family.
The homeowner is here with me tonight, sir.
Right.
It is not meant to
It's
be
not.
rentals at all. No,
So the
sir.
guy was lying?
I'm not sure who
Looking
the
for his
guy was.
apartment? All right. Go speak to your client and ask for an answer if you could, or get them up here, name and address.
Okay.
Answer the questions.
Yes. My name's Ton Tran. I'm the owner of 6560 Street.
Are you renting out any of those rooms?
No,
No.
Yeah.
So why did someone come to the office today and ask if their apartment is, when's it gonna be ready at 656? I have an apartment there.
who asked you that?
I'm
No,
asking
right now
you,
it's
you
a
know.
rental. Yeah,
Huh?
right now it's rental, but we had a rental, but the lease ends up this January.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we're gonna stop the lease.
All right, I'm gonna call on the clerk, because they went to her office, and if you
Where?
could, Madam Clerk, please explain what happened today.
Somebody made an inquiry today at 55 C Street and indicated that this property was going to be made into a two-family house after construction?
No.
After construction, not during construction, after
After,
construction.
but these are only single family, not a,
Correct.
Yeah, correct.
As it is presented as a single-family dwelling.
and I gonna live in that, like, after construction. Yeah, it's not for rental.
You are relocating from Linfield to this
Yes.
property?
Yes. Because my business in Dorchester is close to Quincy.
All right. You get five bedrooms, correct? I'll get down to 4 now. Is it 4 or 5 bedrooms?
It's 5 bedrooms.
5 bedrooms, 5 full baths. Everyone's got a walk-in closet, right?
Correct.
And then on the second floor, you have three rooms marked. One was storage, utilities, one was a den, and one was an office. Why wouldn't that be in the first floor? Why wouldn't your den and your office be in the first floor, if that's your office? I don't get it.
On the first
It looks
floor,
like, here's what this looks like to me, just to me. It looks like those 2 rooms, den and office, are gonna be turned into a kitchen, and you're gonna have 2 units in that apartment. That's the way it's laid out. And I've been building for years. That's the way that's laid out. So you say it's not, I believe you. But that place will be investigated as it's built, when it's built, and I might even put in the deed a year later, I want that building checked. Fine. Those are my questions. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Not at this time.
Yeah, I have a question. How come you get utility and storage on the first floor and utility and storage on the second floor?
got the, we didn't get into the mechanical design yet with the architect, but the hot water heater and electrical panels, there'll be a sub upstairs, the main panel, well, on the first floor and second floor, it'd be in that corner with storage, obviously 36 inches away from the panels.
So you need 2 utility rooms, is that what you're telling me?
That's the way this is gonna be designed, so each floor has their own hot water heater.
Like a 2-family?
No, it's set up as a 1 family.
That's what you're telling me. Each unit will have its own hot water heater, each unit have its own
Yeah.
storage,
Each floor.
or each unit. Thank you.
Barry, any questions?
I share the other members' sentiments that single-family homes tend not to need 2 separate electrical panels on each floor and 2 separate hot water heaters. So I don't care for the second floor layout whatsoever. It reads like a 2-family. And it's 37 and a half.
Mr. O'Brien,
I agree with what my members on the boards, and it is an improvement over the Connex buildings that were there before.
hey, still I'm not too fond of the outside of that thing at all.
It's not pleasing. And again, that's an improvement to take what you got there, but they're raising more questions than you're answering, so. I would like to see some restrictions
As,
put on there, you know. The zoning in the areas on that side of the beach, does that allow multiple families?
no, it's on
On
A,
that side of C Street?
it's all zone A.
That's A, right?
And they did that because of that big apartment building
Right.
that's there, that 4 units, 3 units, 3 big units.
Yeah.
That someone did, so they did it for them, going up the corner, because there was a big utility had that whole big lot, which everyone's trying to buy now, because they're gonna move all the switching and everything's out of that. That's why they did that. That whole corner coming down.
Yeah.
Mr. Pike, I have a question. How are you going to handle the reduction in the roof height to 35? How's that going to change the roof?
Probably reduce the first floor and the second floor ceilings and change the pitch of the head to comply with the 35.
Do you have any color renderings of the elevations?
No, we didn't get beyond the black and white plans at this point.
What's your plans for the color of that building?
That would be up to the homeowner. We didn't get into material selection and colors yet.
All right, when you do, I'll get into voting, okay? How's that?
Okay.
That sound fair? All right. Why don't we continue this till, 2 more weeks? So someone come up with some answers about colors and all that and the redesign and we'll look at that again. I'm not doing the 8th, it's gonna be the 2nd. It's not gonna be a meeting the 8th because no one's on. All that stuff's going on.
Either the 24th or the 22nd.
20,
2 weeks is the 24th. Or at the end of July.
22nd.
June 24th or July 12th.
July 22nd. Can I have a motion, please?
July 22.
Yes. Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, ZBA 2511, Ward 1, Manuel Paiva for a variance and special permit to demolish the existing building and rebuild in the same footprint a 3-story flood-compliant dwelling with a 4-stall garage on the ground level on the premises number 656 C Street, Quincy, Mass. Move to continue to July 22
And I
24.
want a color drawing of that building. What's it gonna look like when it's done?
with a color drawing provided to the board 2 weeks before, or 1 week,
1 week before,
1 week before.
as long as it's got 4 views, front, side, rear, east, west.
4 different views on the color rendering. Thank you.
Second?
Second.
On the motion, seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? So moved.
Manny, I will reach out to you and give you the exact date as to when I
Thanks,
need the
man.
revisions. Thank you. Yep.
Wow.
Yep. Okay.
CBA 2517. You wanna hold that thing? Is it, you wanna hold that thing? If you want that one, or this one? Who wants to move it? Last, right?
Well, that's the order that they're
Is
in.
he here?
Yes, Attorney Fleming is here.
Why don't we do this?
Which, was concerned about 694 Washington, but he just arrived.
You know, we'll move him down than we did the council. Yeah. We're gonna move Washington down, just, the council wanted to be here, he's had a great addition. CDA 2523,
Alicia Wynn.
Alicia Nguyen for variance to demolish the existing single-family home and construct a new single-family home on the premise number 55 Sterling Street. The applicant or representative here?
Right here.
Thanks. Name and address for the record, please.
Sure, my name's Kevin Posley. I'm Alicia Wynn's fiance. This is for the address for 55 Sterling Street.
You have the floor, sir.
Thank you. So what we're looking to do is Alicia's parents, they currently live in the house here with her. We are looking, it's a aging house. It's gotta be around 100+ years, foundations got issues, windows got issues. It's too small for the existing, what we're looking to do with it here for the family. And we want our parents to be able to age in the structure, be able to live on the first floor and not have to worry about going up the stairs.
Right.
Dealing with the longstanding hospital issues from the past couple of years here. What we'd like to do then is propose a larger house. It has a larger footprint, a garage here for it. It is slightly over for the variances. I do have my architect Artan with to help with any explanations here for it. But I think it's a pretty simple house that we're looking at.
What are you
building.
building? What is it? 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom?
It's a 5-bedroom house. It's currently a 5-bedroom house that exists there right now.
Yeah.
It's going to be a 5-bedroom house that exists there afterwards if this new one goes through.
Do you know there's a 5-year moratorium on curb cuts?
I
Just put in a new,
I did hear about that, yes.
so you can't, we got a problem, we can't get you a curb cut.
We
So
can adjust
what
the
do we do
curb
with
cut.
that?
If they can use the existing utilities, they're all set. If not, they've got to wait 5 years.
All right, all right. What's on the outside of the building? What are you putting on that?
Yes, I'll let my architect Artan answer.
Good evening, everyone. Artan Sadiqo, I'm the architect for this project. So far, we are just showing fiber cement siding. We have different versions of it, like board and bottom siding and shiplap vertical applied.
What's the colors of this thing?
Well, we went with the client. back and forth about the color scheme. We have like a very light green and off-white for now.
You know, I hate seeing black and white. It just don't show what that neighborhood is and then what's it's gonna look like with, some people got some weird colors that they pick. And it's not fair to the people that have lived there for 40 years, 50 years. You get a purple house and a green door.
We are not going to go that extreme, but
If not, you could build what you have, you can rebuild it. So, and if the people knew what was gonna go there, then they would complain, but they don't. They think it's just a regular house and then colors get a little weird sometimes. So that's why I'm asking.
If I can also-
You get a rendered color in it.
so we do have it, we just do not have it
It
printed in color.
decreased off your screen, sir.
Apologize.
That's okay.
Green and gray. Right.
Yeah.
Look, bright green doors.
It's more like a.
Yes.
Green.
And that color pops.
Yeah, it does.
We're still trying to keep it light, but modern.
More light and blend in. If it just boom.
Mr. Architect, is this the side where you're also showing the evergreens here or the arborvitae?
Correct, yes.
It's, I don't know, I wouldn't want to face this side if I were living next door with us. It just seems kind of not blending in with the neighborhood, I think.
On that side of the house, I think there are existing evergreens that go against the fence
Could be
line.
blocking this view.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not gonna block the second story, but it's gonna block the first story.
The warehouse view?
Yeah. Yeah,
In a word.
Right.
right. A lot of these new homes I'm seeing come out with this, there's not that many, but there's enough of this the new siding and what's the advantage to that than an old northeastern home that we build with fiberboard or, what's the difference?
Well, the material is basically the same, it's still fiber cement. It's just the planks that they create, they come in different shape and different applications, so the manufacturers make them available to us to
Is it
have.
color right through or is it just color on the face?
No, fiber cement that would have like a laminated layer of color on top of it. It's still, you'll still be able to, if you wanted to
It
have.
rots. What happens with that stuff? Is it rots and it decays?
No, fiber cement is pretty durable.
No, it doesn't. My neighbor, I got 3 neighbors.
Yeah,
They're redoing their houses already. It's really catastrophic with the spending to get things fixed. And it's like the bottoms, where the water don't roll right sometime because the fiberboard, it's not colored through. So the first layer
yeah.
goes. And it's really, I thought that stuff I really did. I thought a guy told me that once. No, it's full through color I buy. Oh, all right.
Well, so we are not in CDs right now. We haven't done construction documents because of the process. So we are not married to fiber cement. And I definitely have seen the lamination, the color lamination ripping off because of water penetrating into the panel. And that is basically due to bad implementation and application of the material.
Half and half, yeah. And then you get northeast side, and there's no sun, it don't dry out, and it rots.
Yeah, I mean, I've had it case. I've had a project where James Hardy, the company that makes most of these products, they couldn't stand to see their product ripping off like that, and even if it was outside of their warranty, they still came in and replaced everything.
Yep.
But in this project, if we end up using that material and not like some kind of PVC board or
Yeah.
Bora like fly ash panels or other clapboard or other materials. I'm going to do CA on this, so I'm going to do construction observation. So I'm going to sit on top of it so that all the details are applied as they should.
All right.
So, and if they don't do that, then I'm going to be able to see if anything was not sealed properly, because that's what happens to the panel. It's not sealed
Sealed
how the
and
manufacturer
drain,
says.
And the drainage, right? The drains are too tight to the bottom. They make
Right.
it too tight, and there's no way the water dissipate, rots out fast.
Right, so I was planning to use the rain skin application for this, so I'm gonna have an air gap in the back of it to let it,
Yep, that's what you need, right.
yeah. But-
Those are my questions. If you could just tame down that green a little bit, I'd appreciate it, too.
can I add something more before the other questions? I think it was not covered properly. The only thing that we need a variance for is front setbacks.
I
It's a
know.
corner lot.
I know,
We need 225s, and
right, you don't have it.
so that's the only thing.
I get that. So you need something, we like a little something, right?
Let's discuss.
Selling it down.
Yeah.
Any other questions there, Mr. Chairman?
You're staying within the footprint, did you say?
No, we cannot stay within the footprint because the existing house is already pushed back. It's aligned with the other houses on the block, but the zoning code pushes us to move our new building further away.
I
So,
misheard you. All right, thank you.
and even with our setback that we're proposing with our infraction there, we still would be set back more than any
More
other
than
house on the
before,
block.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Himmel?
How are you gonna get around the moratorium on the curb cuts?
Well, we have like a 20-foot setback we're proposing right now in the front there, so the cars would have to maneuver into that space to align with the garage and get into the garage.
Thanks.
Do you have an existing, an as-built plan so we can see where the current curb cut is?
Yes, it is in there. It should be in the, so our proposed plot plan has, it's an overlay basically with existing conditions. Can I approach?
Sure.
So this contour here is the existing house that is being teared down, and this dash line here is our proposed bigger footprint house.
Please mark up the curb cut, the current curb cut for me.
And the curb is here.
Okay.
We're proposing it.
So draw the current curb cut on this for me.
So you do is take the curb, put it back.
So the cars will maneuver here basically.
Okay, so this is gonna change your driveway.
That's true.
But we can still work with this.
I understand, but this,
Oh, yeah, yeah. We relocated it.
okay, so I think we'll need to see an updated plan with you working with the existing conditions.
Understood.
So
Yeah,
you do
we
is
can do
you
that.
change it, right? Take a lift, put it in there.
It's a reasonable.
Yeah, block, right? It's weird.
We just asked, we want to understand how the plan changes with
Yeah.
utilizing the curb cut,
Okay,
which they can do.
yep,
Yeah, I'm good, same thing.
okay. You can have a seat. Is there anyone want to speak in favor? First call, second call, third call closed. I got a letter to read in from the DPW. We read in the record.
55 Sterling Street, case number ZBA 2523. We have received the submittal for the above referenced project. Our comments are as follows. Number one, specify how much impervious area will be increased due to development. Two, provide plans showing existing site conditions, layout of utility grading, drainage, and construction details. Three, explain how the surface runoff will be discharged and treated. Number four, the existing paving Sterling Street and Versailles Street was repaved in 2022. There is a 5-year moratorium for any digging on these new paved streets. Five, upon completion of the project as-built plan showing all utilities, building footprints need to be submitted along with digital file.
Thank you. Block part of the hearing closed. Is there anyone here opposed or undecided? First call. Step forward, name and address for the record. Wait till you get here, ma'am. We got a microphone.
I'm sorry, I just came from a break.
Name and address for the record.
Yes, I live at 16 Ardell Street, which is not too far from this Sterling Street, Versailles Street and all that. Well, I'm not sure what kind of house they want to build when they take this down. Where we live, it's a very unique little neighborhood. You don't go in there unless you own a home. So I've been noticing a trend where people throw down their homes and then they build a bigger home. Like, it looks like one family maybe, but to me, it looks like a two-family. So I'm like,
Here's what's being built there, so you know.
can I see it? Thank you. That's,
Take that with you up there. That's fine. You can leave it there when you're done.
yeah, that's definitely a much bigger home than what's there now. I mean, that's huge for our neighborhood. We're not that type of neighborhood. We're very unique. There's New England homes there. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
And so that's going to change the whole area. I've already started seeing it. I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure. Am I like supposed to just say, okay, do it?
No, it's a 27 foot. It's the exact same height as the other one, it says.
It says, but it
Yeah.
certainly doesn't
Oh,
look
that's what
like
they
a
say.
neighborhood.
That's what they put on the, and it isn't. They don't build it.
Doesn't look like it to me.
Shorter than what's there now.
It like changes the whole area, really.
Matter of fact, yeah, it's really an inch and, 1 foot and 2 inches shorter.
Yeah, but why is it so much like that? I mean,
Like,
it doesn't even fit the neighborhood.
It's probably the way the roof looks, it makes it, it gives it a different appearance.
It does,
Like what
it
you-
does, yeah, it
it's a
does
flat,
look very
it is a
different.
completely different appearance.
It is, it
Right.
is, yeah.
And that's what I'm noticing. And the younger people that are building, I don't know why they like it, but they do. I don't, but they do.
I know, are we supposed to like let them
Right,
change
it's
our
old.
Are we supposed to let them change our neighborhoods after years been like that? I mean, it looks awfully big, so how many bedrooms does this thing have? 5 bedrooms,
Huh?
same as the other?
Yeah, 5 bedrooms, same as the, same thing.
I mean, I
My
don't know.
parents are gonna be living.
I just, I guess there's not much one can say, is there?
Say your speech, tell me what you like and don't like.
I don't
I'm
like-
hearing it.
Well, I certainly don't like the way it looks because it doesn't fit the neighborhood. And they just built another one where they took the house down and built this big monstrosity that I'm sure it's going to be a 2-family. You know, I mean, they just make it seem like a 1-family, but then before you know it, there's a ton of people in it.
That's when you call up.
I call you again,
Yeah,
right?
just call. You call and say, there's a bunch of people living in this house, and it's a single-family house.
I know, if you can see them.
That's what Mr. Conlon's here for.
All right.
He's the director. He will make sure when there's people renting illegal apartments and people die in their homes because they're illegal and they go to prison, he's the guy that helps put them there. So, no, and it's happening. It's happening. People are renting illegal apartments. And what's gonna happen is something's gonna happen again, like it did a few years back.
Well, I
People
know.
die in an illegal apartment, no exit. They got one exit. They can't get out.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah,
It went on
they
my-
died, right.
Yeah, I
Because they
remember.
want $300,000, $700,000 more a month. Greed. I hope they're enjoying their Salisbury
I don't
steak
know.
and-
I don't know what to say. I just, I guess there's enough room there for them to build it, so I just don't like the look.
I got one of those across the street from you, don't feel bad. I got one of those right across the street from me.
Oh, gosh, I don't know. Sometimes I wonder why
I
do
guess
people want to
we're
take.
not with the now, I guess. I guess we're the old people here.
I
guess.
know, I guess so. But
I don't know.
sometimes I wonder.
You really are, though.
I mean,
I get it. I get it. When I see that, I freak out.
You could remodel a home so nicely. Why
Yes, you could.
why do
Right.
people want to keep on taking them down? I don't get it.
Well, sometimes you have to. It's cheaper.
Well, maybe, but I mean,
Foundation's no good. The windows, the doors, the walls, everything's creeping up.
tell me about it.
Electrical's gonna burn down anyway. Change it.
I remodeled,
Be
a-
safe.
I know, I remodeled a home and I took everything down to the bare wood.
See, there you go.
But I didn't change anything. I just made
You
it new.
changed your
Well, I mean,
walls. You changed the little
I
windows.
changed the walls. Well, all right, I don't know. I guess that's all I can say about it.
I know.
I mean, I just hate my neighborhood being changed. I've been there for 50 years.
Yeah.
Can I say? That's it.
Is there anyone else opposed or undecided? Second call, third call, all up part of the hearing closed. I guess it's a new thing, I guess. I'll say I don't like that new look, but it's his property, he wants to build it and live in it. Just tone down the green and we're all set. Like, not an emerald green, like, come down the street and you wouldn't need streetlights, it would just stick right up. All right. You all set?
Yeah, do you want to put something in there about the green?
Yeah, he can tone down the green. He's got a dark green, he's got a light green and the emerald, he's saying he's gonna tone that down and make it lighter. or something to match that's lighter.
Reduce the shade.
Yeah, just reduce the shade of it so it's not like eye popping.
We gonna get a new driveway plan?
I think that'll work for now. It's only a year. By the time that house is built, it'll be 8
It'll be
months.
5
You know,
years, isn't it?
you know, it's 7, right?
It's a year before they can open the driveway?
The new one, yeah. Yeah, the new
27.
one. You don't remember, do you?
Yeah, but you just said it was 5 years.
No, I'm joking. I was just joking.
Oh.
The 6x6, the 6x6. what do you call it?
And when they
Perfect
want to do a
driveway.
curb cut, they're going to have to reapply for the curb cut.
2027.
27.
Guys will still be here.
Paved in 2022.
Yeah, 27.
So 27.
Yeah, next, yeah, year and a half. By the time that's done, it's probably a year, but, I mean, if you look at it, they can maneuver in the front of that house to get in there.
You just have to figure
It's
it out.
too bad they couldn't just take that out. I mean, it's just a curb. It's not the street. Turn up the curb. Turn up, we're ripping up the whole front to do it anyway. Rip up the front of the yard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't get that.
I mean, if they were.
I get cut in the street.
More of a problem if they were relocating it to,
Right,
you know, as opposed to,
sliding it down.
yeah, as opposed to they're gonna have to permit it in 2 years.
And it's only curb. It's like curb. You can wreck the front of their house because it's being destroyed anyway. The whole yard's being destroyed when they rip it down, right?
Yeah.
So you're not gonna wreck anything in their yard. Who cares? All you do is slide those.
Oh, yeah,
down.
no, okay, I mean.
Really, I don't know, I understand cutting the street, but I don't understand why, if your yard's wrecked and I'm ripping up your yard and then pushing it back and put gravel on the other side too, you're not touching the street, right? I don't know. I would think about it differently, but,
So we're denying the request to relocate the curb.
Okay,
yeah, they can't relocate the curb. We can approve it, but it'll never, they'll just say we're not doing it.
Okay,
So it's gonna take them 2 more years to get that done, year and a half.
all right.
They're gonna run over their grass until they get the thing put in 2 years and then fix the front.
Right.
Still spending money now to fix it, all right.
Mr. Chair, ZBA 2523, Ward 3, Alicia Nguyen for a variance to demolish the existing single-family home and to construct a new single-family home on the premises numbered 55 Sterling Street, Quincy, Mass. I move to allow the petition subject to the following. Reduce the shade of the proposed green garage doors and denial of the request for a curb cut due to the moratorium on curb cuts.
Second.
On the motion, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
opposed, so moved.
Pass that over to Ms. Kathleen. We did it. This and
She's in this right now.
Yeah.
I think she's aware.
We'll do Washington Street. He's here, right?
Washington Street next.
Hey, is he here?
Rachel's not here, to the best, he's not here right now. He's not coming.
All right.
where do we go with Washington?
I'm not sure.
Where do we go with Washington Street?
694 Washington Street, CBA 2517. You want to change the use to all present in commercial zoning. They don't like what's written, I guess, I don't know. Applicant?
Brian Burke, the builder for the owner.
Huh?
Brian Burke, the builder
Yeah,
for the owner.
Mr. Burke,
How are you?
what's your address?
Ed?
Your address,
Oh,
not 700, what's your address? Where do you
240.
live?
247 North Harvard Street in Brighton.
Okay.
Can you repeat the name of your street, sir?
I mean,
247 what?
Speak into
North
the mic and she.
North Harvard Street.
North Harvard,
There you go.
right?
Yep.
Change the use.
Yeah. Tell us what you requested.
Oh, basically, we were here a couple of years ago, and we had the a Board of Appeal to expand the existing building that was 300 square feet, brought it to 700 square feet.
Right.
And we were very specific about the use of the building. And all the people we had to rent it, we haven't been able to rent it for a year and a half. But all the people we had to rent it, if they had any sales out of the place, they couldn't do it. If they had Even a beauty shop, they couldn't sell shampoo. So due to restrictions, we had a photography shop, antique shop. A lot of people applied for it. And the building inspector told me, you have to change how it's zoned as it's recorded at the registry of deeds.
Right.
He
So
said,
every time you rent that now, you're gonna have to probably change it if someone else is going in.
yes, they said, you should put it in as for all lawful purposes
I won't agree to that.
under that
I don't
zone.
think anyone here would agree to that, so that's out the window. You reckon for a blank book, we don't know what's gonna be in there? No, not what I'm saying. Never happened. I don't think anyone here, that would happen. Give you a blank slip to rent it to whoever you want. Next thing you know, there's an adult bookstore in there. We can't see that. No, ain't gonna happen. So, what else would you like?
Could it be retail purposes?
Like what retail? What do you want to sell in there?
You know, like the contractors, if they're in the contract we have now, if he sells like heating systems or equipment or anything like that, he's not gonna have it on shop, but he wants the ability to be able to do that.
Excuse me. Oh, God.
What happened?
Oh, I can tell you I'm doing too much today. So you wanna, but if a contract is there,
Yeah,
and he goes in, he sits there and sells them whatever he sells them, the equipment's not there anyway.
yeah, but
To sell, he's just using it as an office.
but they told me that he can't sell any products out of
But
there,
he's not selling it like take it with you.
only his services.
But he can't sell only taking it with you. He's not taking it, you're not taking your air conditioning system with you. Right? You're not taking your shed with you. What's this guy selling? Like a little
He's an electrical
fireplace?
contractor.
Huh?
He's an electrical contractor,
So,
and he,
he's not gonna be selling nothing. He's gonna be installing stuff in your house where you sit there with him, go over your stuff and your books, look at stuff, and then he goes and he orders it and it's delivered.
I think he does a lot of new houses, and
Yeah,
he does development as well.
yeah.
So I think he does sell products from there, but out of a catalog, that type of thing. We just don't want to put him,
Sell stuff out of a catalog, if as long as it's shipped, it's not on premise,
As long as this is just an office, yeah, there's no retail.
just the office. Yeah, there's nothing, no cash register going on, no products being moved in, no, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do that.
yeah, we just want to accommodate what they have
Well,
there.
you can do that, but you can't sell stuff out. You can't like ring up a register and say, all right, $12.95, $14.95, you know? That's not the business that can be in there. So there's an electrical contract that's there. Now, I talked to your guy you subcontracted to today.
Yep.
To put in stuff, and he's in there working on it. And, he said he's putting up a file cabinet. There's 5 people in there working. I don't know if it takes 5 people to put in a file cabinet, but, or a cabinet, whatever. But I ain't saying anything. So all I'm saying is, the front sign say it's an electrical contractor. We do plumbing, this, that. We have apprentice opportunities, this, we're hiring journeyman. So that's what that guy that's renting it's gonna be doing?
Yeah, I think he does development as well as
Yeah.
electrical contracting, yeah. He has signs on the window that says hiring now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I saw them.
Oh, we didn't give him an application as an apprentice. I figured I'd be a carpenter this time. No, I'm kidding.
Jesus. 50 years is enough.
53. Okay. So you're just gonna keep it as what you're gonna keep it as, right?
Yeah, but we would just don't want to tie his hands like he can sell product, that's all.
He can sell products out of the catalog
Yeah,
and charge them and have them delivered. He can't take them and give them to him in that little shop,
yeah.
600 square
No,
feet.
we had a pool company that wanted to put displays outside,
No,
you know,
no,
yeah,
no.
a year ago.
That turns like
Yeah.
junk. That looks like junk. Huh?
Yeah,
That's where the pot shop is now, that used to be a pool place.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
When the pool went to pot, like it wasn't that corner.
yeah.
That's what I thought they were gonna look at. There's gonna be another pot shop across the street.
Oh, yeah, I see them.
A lot of money in it.
Yeah, they're gonna have to put a crosswalk with a light there soon.
Yeah. Yeah. Crazy, it really is crazy.
Yeah.
Think of stuff that we're even doing today. It's crazy. Like I said, maybe too old for this, huh? Maybe too old to do pot shops in Clinton. Oh, God.
Yeah, too many,
So,
cannibalizing.
he can do what you want him to do. He can sell out of books, catalogs, fill out his contracts. It's delivered to the house. It's never going through the company. He can do that now.
All right.
And his permit does say that right now, right?
Right.
Right.
The package.
He has electrical contractor in there. You're not gonna have, I don't want his work trucks and all that stuff loading that place up either. That's not what that is. It's not, it's an office.
It's an office, yeah. It's very small.
Wants to bring in a car or two, that's fine, in his parking station. 2 people that work there, or whatever, 3 people, I don't know who he's gonna have, but I don't want no AD construction trucks and that whole thing. That would be silly of us.
Yeah.
I guess you don't need us, you have what you need.
All right, so what we have is okay.
What you have is okay for him to do business through books and catalogs, no retail there. He can't be go selling hats and this stuff, and you get it, right?
Yeah, nothing like that.
No hair tonic, no quick oils, huh?
Yeah.
All
No.
right,
All right,
you're all set.
thank you.
All right,
Bye.
further. The big one.
So we're gonna file a motion to deny this?
No, just withdraw it. He still has his own, make a motion to withdraw his application. His application is fine.
Okay.
All right, CBA 20, oh, yeah, go ahead, you're gonna read that, yeah.
Okay. Mr. Chair, ZBA 25-17, Ward 2, Uma Donna Balin, for a variance to change the use to all present uses in commercial zoning on the premises numbered 694 Washington Street, Quincy, Mass. I move to allow the withdrawal of the motion
No
Second.
prejudice, done,
without prejudice.
Second.
seconded. On the motion, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. All right, ZBA 2525, 622 Quarry Street LLC for special permit variance to raise the existing structures, construct a 5-story, 48-unit residential structure, and parking underneath on the premises 92 Willard Street. Counselor, you have the floor.
It's pretty fancy.
Whose dime is it anyway?
Yeah.
He does better at this, the guy, right, I think.
Which one?
He does better.
Just scroll back here, like you had before. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. For the record, my name is Edward Fleming. I'm here on behalf of 622 Quarry Street LLC. I'm joined by a number of people tonight. First, Michael Kiley, who is the manager of the applicant, 622 Quarry Street LLC. I'm joined by Greg McDonald, who is, the McDonald family is the owner of the property. And Greg and his son Shane are here tonight, representing the ownership of that property. I'm also joined by Carlos Scolte from CEC Engineering. Carlos will talk about the engineering in more detail in a moment, and David Siebert, who's from BKA Architects, who is the architect in the proposal, and we'll go through that in more detail. If I could just take a couple minutes and kind of give a little bit of background about this proposal and what it involves. As you indicated, Mr. Chairman, this involves 3 different parcels of land, known as 86 Willard Street, 92 Willard Street, and 135 Robertson Street. They form a triangular parcel, which you can see on the plan, that's really surrounded by all 3 of those streets, both Willard Street, Robertson Street, and Quarry Street. This property has been owned by the McDonald's, who operate in the Common Market Restaurant, the Fish and Chicken Restaurant across the street, and the new restaurant called Ballast from that location as well. The McDonald's have owned this property since early 1980s, and they've acquired land over the years all around the restaurant businesses, really with the intention of investing further and further into the neighborhood. As you know, or as you may know, the McDonald's operation involves a number of different restaurant and concepts. Forever, the McDonald's have been making changes and improvements to those restaurant concepts, and just recently redesigned a portion of the Common Market Restaurant building for a new restaurant called Ballast.
but they've continued to invest in this neighborhood and in this community for years. Doing so, they actually acquired the land across the street from the Common Market Restaurant that encompasses this triangular parcel. And that parcel really was, since 1985, really just had a granite building, as you probably have all read in the paper about the granite building that sits on the property. There was a house on the corner of Quarry and Robertson Street that the McDonald's utilized to house some of the folks that work within their restaurant complex. But the McDonald's have also bought other property in that particular area as well. I tell you this because the McDonald's have a long history in this area. This particular site, as it's sat since 1985, has really been underutilized. It's a Business B zoned parcel, and the McDonald's over the years have been approached by a number of different business uses. That's been some retail, office uses in the past. They were approached by a pharmacy at one point in time to do a pharmacy at that location, an office building at that location, a number of different other uses at the property. None of which really caught the eye of the McDonald's. They didn't think that those uses, one, would be the best use for the site, but also because the McDonald's really wanted to maintain their interest in the property because their goal was really to invest and own and manage these properties. So as the years went on, they entertained different offers. They really kind of analyzed the site and they determined that, you know, a residential component at that location would really work well. It's a real opportunity for a true mixed use. As you may know, Willard Street's been overgone a lot of improvements over the years, but a lot of the improvements a lot of the area of Willard Street has been commercial in nature, and there was very little residential, good residential use. So they decided that they thought the best use of this site would be for residential use. So again, just to kind of go back to this property. So in deciding that residential use was the best use for the site, the McDonald's also understand they're restaurateurs. They're not developers. So they partnered with Mike Kiley. I think many of you know Mike Kiley, Heritage Companies. They've done a number of different buildings in the city of Quincy and throughout the South Shore area, and have done really good work in the city. And I think the city is proud of a lot of the work that Mike and Heritage has done. So they brought in Mike to do a partnership and redevelop the site and make some good use of this site. So this site is a 34,107 square foot parcel of land. As I indicated to you, it's located in a Business B zoning district. And it provides, in Business B, as you know, allows for not only business type uses, but also residential use. And when residential use is proposed on the site, it converts the zoning, as you know, to Residence C. And that allows, in Residence C, Business B, first of all, allows for a 4-story commercial office building with very little setback. So almost the entire site could be taken up by building in a 4-story building at that nature. When it converts to Residence C, it allows actually for 2 more stories. So it allows for a 6-story structure for the residential use. So what we tried to do as this site was being developed and planned is they looked at other properties within the area. They looked at the zoning criteria of this site to determine how this building and how this design should be accommodated. One of the buildings they looked at was a building on 64 Willard Street, which is across the Willard and Quarry Street intersection. There's a building over there that's a 42-unit building. It's 4 stories from Willard Street. It's 6 stories from the rear on Stedman Street. They looked at also the Gridley Bryan School. The Gridley Bryan School has been converted over the years from a school to a commercial office building. That's essentially a 4-story structure as well. There was a brand new multifamily building built at the entrance of Home Depot right next to the Gridley Bryan School. That's a 4-story structure as well. So they looked at these other buildings to determine what's the most appropriate and best way to utilize this site. And they came up with the design that we'll present to you tonight. As you may be aware, this matter has also gone through the planning board as under site plan review, which is required of all buildings over 3 units or more. And we filed that application with the planning board a number of months ago, and we had 3 hearings before that body. And it was very well attended by the neighborhood. In fact, we had a neighborhood meeting that was attended, I would say, by 60-plus people initially at the Common Market Restaurant. We also, a number of those folks and a number of those neighbors expressed concerns and comments during the planning board process by which this proposal underwent a review not only of all the city departments, but also peer review consultant to look at issues related to the height, the density, the traffic related matters, and drainage that Carlos will talk about in more detail. And during that process, in an effort to accommodate and respond to the concerns of the neighbors, the proposal was changed from a 58-unit, 6-story development to a 5-story development of 48 units. So that one of the changes that we made, obviously, is to the height of the building from 6 to 5 stories and the number of units from 58 to 48. In addition to that, and one of the, I think, the main issues of concern that the neighbors raised was issues related to traffic. Traffic in that neighborhood is, everybody goes to the highway. And so 3 roads actually service that highway. Willard Street, Quarry Street, and then all of these other surrounding neighborhood streets. So as a result, in the morning hours and at the nighttime hours, these streets are cluttered with traffic. So the concerns of traffic were raised. And one of the main issues of concern is an intersection that actually is in the far left of this site that you can't see off the map. And it's an intersection, it's kind of a strangely shaped intersection where Willard Street and Quarry Street and also Stedman Street come into that area. We took those issues of concern about traffic and really mostly about traffic safety into consideration. And we had a lot of discussions with the city's traffic department and the city's planning department. And in addition to the changes that we made to the proposal, the applicant has also agreed to a $30,000 contribution. Carlos, running out of steam. $30,000 contribution towards traffic. And that contribution is really targeted specifically to the neighbors' concerns about traffic safety. And the city intends to utilize that money for a traffic safety study. And that's the first step in which the city needs to undertake in order for the city to then undertake plans to make improvements to the traffic corridors in that area. And the hope and the goal is that's going to improve the traffic safety in this area, but it's also going to improve the flow of traffic to alleviate some of the traffic concerns that the neighbors have had. And we made some other changes to the plans that we can talk about in more detail as we go through. So the proposal that we now have before you is for a 48-unit 5-story building. It has parking on 2 levels underneath the building that David will show and describe in more detail. We think that this new plan and all the changes in the mitigation measures that we've agreed to have directly addressed a lot of the concerns that have been raised by the neighbors. We understand and we appreciate and respect the fact that this is a big change. This is a change of a site that's really been underutilized, that's almost really completely undeveloped, to a site now that's going to have some life. And it's going to bring not only life to this area, but it's going to improve the area dramatically. And it's also going to be a wonderful opportunity for those folks to have amenities right near them across the street at the restaurants that the McDonald's have had for years that have served the community. And we don't think that this is going to have an impact negatively on the traffic because this, unlike a lot of the folks that live further away from the highway, this is almost essentially on top of the highway. So the folks that leave this development are going to be able to jump right on the highway, and it's not going to contribute towards the outstanding traffic issues. So we're asking for, because of the zoning change from from business B to residence C, we are asking for relief from the dimensional requirements of the ordinance. As you know, the planning board, after 3 hearings, approved site plan review with the conditions spelled out on their decision that included the changes in size, but also the substantial contribution towards the traffic mitigation. But we're now asking this body to also grant relief from the dimensional requirements. And what we're asking for here is we're asking for setback relief to allow the building to be set back as it's shown on the plans. We're asking for building height relief, although the significant change in height from 6 to stories, which is allowed under the ordinance, to 5, still is excessive of the 60-foot height because of some outcroppings of the building. But a minimal height relief, a lot size per dwelling unit, and also open space. You'll see on the plans that we'll show you tonight, we've done a significant amount of landscaping improvements that really don't exist on the site today. The site right now is essentially unimproved other than with gravel and hard packed surface and parking surface. This is going to add some green space to that particular area that doesn't exist today. And we think that a lot of the drainage improvements are actually going to improve the drainage that runs off this site as it stands today. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to turn this over to David first to kind of walk through the architectural plans, and then I'm going to ask Carlos to kind of talk about site
All right, why don't
plans.
we
and
take a
drainage.
5-minute break first?
Yep.
We'll come back. Hey, guys? We can get back. Guys and gals, we can get back.
All set?
Yeah, you have the floor, sir.
All right, I'm David Siebert from BK Architects. Thanks to Chairman
Address?
and Board.
Your address?
2 Barry March Park in Quincy. You can see the renderings before you, as Ed described, we have a 5-story building, 5 stories exposed to what we'll call the Quarry Street side, and 4 stories along the Willard Street side elevation. We'll just take a quick walk through the plans first. We had up before the site plan, this is what we'll call Quarry Street level. We have entrances off of Quarry Street and Robertson, and a garage level parking garage entry that you can see just at the Quarry Street entrance. There's 47 spaces that are enclosed on that level. Mainly this level serves as parking, but there is the main lobby at this level. Walking in, you can see it in yellow, small lobby lounge, a mail parcel room, and elevator lobby, some stairs. There's also underground utilities off to the north side of the building. We travel upwards. Hopefully it works. There it is. This would be the Willard Street level. So we can walk in at grade to 2 lobbies, one on either side. You can see at the corner of Robertson and Willard. That is essentially a stair tower with some utility behind it. And at the opposite end to the north, near the insurance building, we have another vestibule entry exit that would lead you around the parking garage and back into the lobby level, which would connect you to the main core of the elevator and lobby below. This level has a parking garage that is 28 spaces and access off of Willard Street. Sort of its own contained garage. There's bicycle storage, et cetera, carved out in some of these spaces. There's trash room and loading bay accessed off of Willard, just at the end of the building between the main entrance to the vestibule and the insurance building just to the north. We have 4 units on this level and some of the amenity functions of a gym and a leasing office that would overlook a 2-story lobby below at that Quarry Street level that I described earlier. 3rd level up is very similar to the top 2. The only difference here being that there's a common amenity space, common room with a lounge and a small roof deck that is over the top of the trash room that you saw earlier. So we have a single elevator, centrally located, and stairs at either end of the corridor. We have the green units would be 1 beds, blue are 2. There's 6 units have an exterior balcony at this level. Up above, on a typical floor, as you can see here, there's 15 units, 7 units have exterior balconies. So this floor plate repeats itself. Up top, the only difference being here that we have 3 1-bed units that would have a loft space, as you can see in the green there, accessed by an interior stair from the unit. So I can show you that again. It's those 3 up above. Those spaces are set back from the perimeter of the building and actually shorter than the top of the stair tower, slightly. So the stair tower that accesses the roof and all the utilities up there. It's the tallest element on the building. All right, in elevation, in 3 dimensions, this is a view from Quarry Street. You can see the 5 levels, and this is at the access drive at the corner, Robertson and Quarry, and the double overhead door entrance into the garage level. Some exterior balconies as well. The exterior system is a Nichiha rain screen, which is fiber cement, which I'm sure you're familiar with. We have architectural masonry around the base, operable windows, as you can see, various sizes around the perimeter of the building, flat roof that we described earlier. And you can see how some of the, well, there's 3 penthouses again, just pop up above that roof line. At Willow Street elevation, we have, again, the 2 entrances on either end of the building. There's the double garage door entrance that you can see just to the right of the north vestibule lobby. So we have exposed to 3 living levels above the parking garage level here. Ooh, wrong way. So Robertson, you can have a look at the entry lobby, which is sort of in the elbow, tough to see otherwise. So spun this around a little bit so you can get a good look at that. There's an existing tree that we are saving that is right in front of the Granite House that we'll be relocating. Uh-oh.
Password.
I was afraid that was gonna happen. I just have to plug in for power to be able to get it. Yeah. Bear with me for a second. Is there an outlet?
What's wrong?
I just ran out of power on the laptop.
Oh.
It draws down so much power coming from there. It's it'll just take a second. Sorry about this.
You can plug in. It's almost done.
And while Powers is doing that, I know that David mentioned the Granite House, and I know you had an opportunity probably to read in the paper about the Granite House. There was a lot of concern raised by some of the neighbors about the existence of the Granite House. And a great solution actually was found. In our discussions with the mayor agreed, had hired a consultant. The consultant analyzed the home, and actually the granite can be removed and then reconstructed at the site of the Quincy Granite Workers Museum, which, to be honest with you, is a fantastic site for the building. Albina, who operates the Granite Museum, has basically operated out of trailers there. He's now going to have a brand new building, and he can actually kind of show a lot of the artifacts from the granite industry in this brand new building. And it'll be really a fantastic site that, I don't know if anybody's driven up there, but if you go up there, you can see the Lions Turning Mill that they actually secured so you could actually go to visit it. And it's a neat site. And certainly if anybody has interest in the granite industry, it's a site to visit. And I think with this new building being located there, it'll be a fantastic new addition to that property. So, thanks.
Comment. I think everyone got it. He can speak without that. We have our drawings right here.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I have mine. All right, now it's upside down. Here we go. All right, I think I hit the last sheet of the architecturals, but we were looking at Robertson Street elevation and the entry lobby.
Yep.
This is a patina green accent that we're showing here, in case we're having an issue with green tonight. But at any rate, we chose a little accent color to highlight where the pedestrian access would be, and a little bit at the roof deck entry that you can see on the north elevation. So where the roof deck is, I know it might be tough to spot, but anyway, it's located by that green band. As I mentioned, the exterior is all fiber cement panels. It's a cedar wood siding, 3-banded, so it has a simulated V-groove look, where it looks like brown, that would be the cedar. And then a black and gray, excuse me, black and gray scheme otherwise, which is in line with Mr. Kiley's aesthetic for the rest of his buildings. And I just lost mine. I was going to go back to that rendering sheet. I lost it on mine. Oh, there it is. All right, there we go. It's the same relative. Some of the views are, relative to the elevations that you saw a second ago, but it just gives you a height of the setback of some of those portions of the roof that do pop up a little bit. And the only visible piece that I have seen is in the sort of the elbow. It's the very tip of the stair tower at the top, which is the highest portion of the roof. That rendering was taken with the tree missing, so at least you can get a good view of that entry. So Carlos can speak to the civil engineering.
All right, I'm in control now.
You're not getting this password.
I would give it to Ed.
I don't think you want
to. Yeah.
That's maybe one guy.
Members of the board, Carlos Scote with Civil and Environmental Consultants. We're the civil engineers on this project. We did the civil engineering, landscape, traffic engineering on it. So I'll walk you through the site, the context, and some of the other elements here. So by now you're probably familiar with the site. It's outlined in yellow there with frontage on Willard, Robertson, and Quarry. And one of the buildings for comparison that Ed mentioned earlier was the building just to the north of this site. You can see the big white roof for context on the scale and the size of that building relative to our site and some of the other developments in the area, as well as the crossings over the on-ramps to get on and off the highway. So we're right up adjacent to that, so pretty good access for traffic. Next slide, please. So this is a demolition plan showing the 2 existing buildings that are on site that'll be removed, and then the hatching that's shown on the page south side of the site. That's all the gravel that's currently being used for parking. Right now, from a stormwater standpoint, there are no controls on site really to speak of. Everything just flows from the south to the north across into the drainage system that's at the low point of Quarry and Robertson. So everything just sheet flows across the site and goes into the municipal system. We are proposing to remove all the sidewalks here. As you can see on here, one of the things that came up during our conversations with the planning board and the review was discussed that the city wants to see all the sidewalks along the frontage improved, including the corner that we're not touching. So we've agreed to that. So it's all new concrete sidewalk along the project frontage. We're actually reducing the amount of curb cuts that are there on site right now. So today there's 2 on Quarry. We're consolidating to 1. There's 1 on Robertson. We're essentially keeping that one where it is today. And then there's a few for that gravel parking lot that are being consolidated for the access on the Willard Street side as well. And for context, Willard Street is one way at this point, so it's left on the page. It's 2-way just south of the site. Robertson's 2-way and Quarry's 2-way. So we have access to the 2 levels of garage, as mentioned earlier. There's about a 16-foot elevation change, Willard Street being 16 feet higher than the Quarry Street side. So on Willard Street, there's access to the smaller portion of the garage from that top level, separate and distinct. It's its own contained parking garage. We also have the loading off of Willard Street as well. Trucks up to a box truck can pull entirely off the street, so we have off the street access there. Amazon trucks, other deliveries can use that space as well for their loading. We also have 7 visitor spaces identified in that lower level parking lot, accessed off of Quarry and Robertson Street. So there's a good amount of space for people that are either calling an Uber or having friends come over. So there's allocation of spaces dedicated, will be signed for visitors only. So we've identified that so we're not overloading any of the adjacent streets with visitor or guest parking. As mentioned earlier, we have two-way driveway access on Quarry as well as on Robertson. Working with the city and the peer reviewers, we actually adjusted where that driveway was so we could maintain that large existing tree that's on Robertson Street. That also helps from a landscaping perspective, helps provide that visual relief along the frontage, keeping a nice mature tree. And then we're also improving sight lines as well. The existing building, as you can see on the previous slide, was right up on the corner of Robertson and Quarry Street there. So we're pulling everything back from that corner, right? It's kind of tight sight lines. We're opening that up to help improve that corner and make it feel a little bit easier to navigate and manage. It's also overloaded. There's bollards and traffic cabinets and stuff over there. We're going to clean up that whole intersection as well and landscape that corner with a small monument sign there as well. We're showing areas for snow storage that'll be kept outside of the site visibility areas, so you have good sight lines coming in and out of the driveways there. Next slide, please. So the grading and drainage plan, this went through a thorough third-party review as well as review by Department of Public Works. We are taking all of the roof area, routing it to the subsurface stormwater drainage system, as well as conducting runoff from all the perimeter areas and drainage inlets. It's all being routed through that stormwater system that you see in the upper right corner of the plan. That's sized to contain and treat the 1-inch water quality volume and the recharge volume. So it's slightly more than what the requirement is, and it's fully compliant with the Mass DEP stormwater management regulations for reduction of peak rates of runoff. So there will be less stormwater runoff leaving this site today than there was under existing conditions. Water quality is going to be improved, as well as full operations and maintenance plan has been prepared. We recorded at the Registry of Deeds to make sure that the ownership team keeps up with all the maintenance that's required for the site, as well as erosion and sediment control plans during construction to make sure that there's no sediment that gets off into the city system. So again, very thorough design, been reviewed by the peer reviewer and has been through the site plan review process as well. The grading is matching the grading on Willard Street, again, 16 feet higher roughly than the Quarry Street side. Everything's designed to be ADA compliant, so the sidewalks will be improved to help improve accessibility around the site, as well as into and out of the building as well to make sure it's all compliant there. Next slide, please. So this is utility plan, fairly straightforward. There's utility access, there's available sewer, there's water, there's electric, telecommunications, natural gas services available all in this area. We're taking all the electric services, those will be placed underground. We've allocated space for a transformer generator on the plan, meeting the NGRID standards, so we've already space planned for that, so you're not gonna be surprised with the transformer sticking smack dab in the middle of the site. So we've already had allocated space for a lot of those utilities, again, bringing everything underground, so improving the frontage by removing all the overhead cables and services that are going to be existing buildings. Next slide, please. The landscape plan, as Ed mentioned earlier, we're keeping a few of the mature trees in the light green color that you can see there. There's one large tree on Robertson that we've worked to be able to maintain. There's also a large tree on Quarry Street at this side, at the northeast or northwest corner of the site. We actually notched out the building a little bit there to be able to provide room for the canopy to be maintained as well. That'll be supplemented with a dense foundation planting scheme along the foundation on all sides, helping improve the curb appeal along Quarry Street, as well as along Willard Street. A mixture of smaller shrubs, some perennial plantings, and a little bit larger trees that'll still respect other utilities that are in the area as well. So again, very robust and thorough landscaping plan that's really going to help provide curb appeal for the site. Next slide. We also ran a photometrics analysis for the site, standard process, working through the planning department, showing that safe and adequate lighting will be provided within the site, while also being dark sky compliant, so not lighting up the whole neighborhood. So making sure that we're meeting the minimum levels of the property lines and not overdoing it on lighting. So that was part of the package. So this is the lower level plan that you see here. And on the next slide is the Willard Street side. So we've identified some bollard lighting along the entrance that's at the southeast corner, as well as some other lighting that's going to be on the garage doors to make sure that they're safe as well at the entries. Next slide. So that's our presentation. I could also speak to the traffic to the extent that we need to. Again, I went through a thorough peer review process.
These condos or apartments? Condos, apartments? All right. And what are you doing for assigned parking spaces? One per plus, what?
Yeah, I'll answer to
Rental?
that. Yeah, right now, typically, Michael Kiley with Heritage Companies, the applicant. Typically, like we're doing all the other apartments that we have in Quincy, what we do is usually typically it's one per bedroom. And we do match that number. So the amount of 2 bedrooms and 1 bedrooms we match. And we always assign to parking, especially when it's in a garage. People always wonder and ask why I number the spaces even exterior, because when you have an apartment building, if you have a number and there's a problem in the car and someone calls up and says, where is it? Well, it's at space number 23. Can you send a tow truck? Or, the broken window in space 23. So we usually always do that. And that way we know when someone uses the parking. If we charge for the parking, whether it's $50 or $75 a month, we know when someone needs the space and uses it. If you don't charge it, they'll take it with the lease and then might not use it. So we make sure it gets used. And that's what we do on our parking.
So, Mr. Chairman, that's the applicant's presentation. Just to highlight, you heard a lot of, you may see letters, you may hear comments from folks about density, about size, and about things of that nature. And all of those are all legitimate questions and comments. But it's also important to understand that these types of projects also bring significant improvement as well. You heard from Carlos, the improvement on the drainage, bringing the utilities underground, dealing with paying $30,000 in mitigation towards a traffic study to deal with the traffic concerns and the traffic safety matters. These are legitimate things, and they don't happen necessarily with the small project. They happen with the larger projects, with these denser projects, and we think that this is a project a place that calls for density. I know there's some concern and comments from neighbors that say, well, it's right on top of a smaller residential neighborhood. That's true. However, it's also on a commercial corridor on Willard Street that's almost on top of the highway. And it's in an area that's surrounded by commercial uses that service these folks, the restaurants, the Home Depots, the other types of facilities. So we think it's a really perfect location for this type of thing, and it's in the West Quincy area, not in Quincy Center, and so it will be able to be priced accordingly to allow for folks that have other options available to themselves. So we think it's a great proposal. We hope that you agree. That's our presentation tonight. If there's any questions, we'll start.
Any questions?
Oh, yeah.
I have questions. Sure. Where is your air conditioning equipment? I don't see any room for either cooling towers or condensers.
It would be on the roof.
Okay, and condenser cooling towers, so there'll be 64 condensers?
No. Yeah, typically 48.
48.
Usually there'd be 1 per unit.
Okay.
You want me to speak? Usually there'd be 1 per unit.
Okay.
And then if the rooftop, there may be a small rooftop just for the common area.
I understand.
Okay.
I just want to know visually what that's going to look like.
And also, sometimes the rooms, we end up doing split systems. We might end up doing, like in the gym, we might end up doing like a mini split. So, but typically, yes, they'll be upstairs on the roof.
So sticking with the roof, how tall is your parapet walls on the roof?
There actually is no parapet.
Okay, so,
It's flat roof.
okay, so we will see the condensers, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, but they'll be strategically set back off the street. And that's typical in a flat roof building.
So you
And-
won't see them from the street? because of the building height, you won't see what you're seeing on these images is really just the tops of even the stair towers or those bump outs in the top. So the condenser will be much lower than that. So even though there's no parapet, you won't be able to see them from certainly most of the angles.
Okay. And I'm looking at these 3 dens up at your roof level.
Correct.
Are there decks contemplated?
No.
Okay.
No,
so
those are
they're
just
going to
walk-up
have
additional
views
room.
of condensers and black rooftop?
Correct. But we'll most likely will strategically locate the windows. We don't
Okay.
want that for our tenants either. But remember, I keep reiterating this. COVID, we went through a time where everybody wants another room to work from. So if there's a couple, that is the ideal situation where you walk up to an
Absolutely.
office.
I just
But
want to
yeah,
be crystal
yeah,
clear
yeah.
because people also want outdoor space.
Yes.
And it would
that-
sort of be a natural progression. Is someone going to be crawling out the window and
Those,
hanging out on the
those are not proposed to do that at all.
Yeah,
And
there
if-
will be no
yeah.
roof access from those locations, and if we can go back, Carlos, to there is outside area, just to highlight, there is outside space available for the tenants.
Yes, but not on all the
Not
the
on the
units.
roof, not on
Okay.
the roof.
Not all the units have decks.
No, but
Okay.
there's an outside deck there on the second floor. This second floor actually has an exterior deck.
Okay.
That's utilized by all the tenants, and it's off the main kind of lounge and common room to be able to utilize by all the tenants.
Okay, I'd like to go back to the parking. So my concern is these are rental units, and if someone doesn't want to pay for parking, if you're charging outside of the lease rate for parking, that they're going to park in the neighborhood. So, do you understand, Marty? I mean,
Yeah, I do, but if you live there and you're paying the rent from brand new building, it's,
can we require that the rentals include the parking spaces? What I don't want to see happening is people chintz out, they don't want to pay the extra money for parking, and now they're going to be in the neighborhood.
I understand what you mean. One would be pointed at you, and if you're not using it, they just don't want you to rent it out. That's all he's saying.
Yes, yes, that's why that works for me.
Right.
Okay.
So you
Because-
get it.
But I
Yeah.
want to make sure that someone isn't going to say, oh, I'm going to save $100 and not rent the parking, and now they're going to
No,
park in the neighborhood.
That's not how it works. It works like they get assigned to them. If they're not using them, then they go, you're not even using these. Why? Well, I only got one car. Oh, okay, you got 2-bedroom place, 1 car.
And I
Maybe
think
they
Greg, Greg will probably have the most of the problems, to be honest with you. If something does happen,
Right.
they're gonna be trying to park in his, so.
Right, they're gonna park. As long as, like you said, 1 per bedroom, everyone gets a spot. That's what you want. You just sort of, you don't want chaos in there. You want assigned spots.
Okay, thank
Anything
you.
else?
That was it.
Mr. O'Brien?
I'm good, thank you.
Is there anyone who want to speak in favor? One at a time. One up. You take an oath?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just asking?
Raise my right hand and everything. I thought I was back in the army.
You are. Stand up, soldier. Stand up.
My name is Paul Burke. I live at 37 White Street in Quincy. I'm in favor of the project. Actually, I was in favor of the project originally, and I see they cut off a whole floor. And one of the other people in the last public meeting said, what was my interest in supporting such a project? It's got to do with taxes. I live at, like I said, 37 White Street in Quincy. You all live in Quincy. You all know what's going on with the real estate market. 16 White Street in January, a nice little bungalow, 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom. It's a nice little house, $629,000. That's about 4.5 times what I paid for my house. 20 White Street, next house over. A nice 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom house, $800,800. That's about 5.5 times what I paid for my house. If you look at the project, it's going to make a big difference in tax money coming into the city. Hopefully, you guys know, or you ladies know also, every 3 years, the city reassesses everybody's property. I mean, I could see it coming. If the houses are going for $600,000, $700,000, $800,000, this project here is gonna be paying 20, 30 times what they're paying now
More here.
or more. I mean, maybe the city won't go up so much on my property. I mean, I'm not gonna be disappointed if they're paying more taxes. They're gonna be building a big building. I'm gonna be seeing it outside the window of my kitchen. Maybe after they cut a story off, maybe not so much, but I'm still gonna see the building. But I know that they're gonna be paying a lot of taxes. And I'll be honest with you, I feel as though that being such a big building, why would anybody be against it? Especially homeowners. The taxes here in Quincy are just going through the roof for homeowners. And if the people that want to buy a house in Quincy, 41 Cornell Street, a nice little bungalow, about 900 square feet, just sold for $550,000. I mean, we're not talking about Squantum or House Neck here, okay? I mean, this is a pretty small, back to nature neighborhood. It's not a very high-end neighborhood. And if the houses are going for this in West Quincy, the tax rate is going to obviously go up and the assessments.
You hope the assessment goes up and the taxes go down.
Well, that doesn't,
Right,
yeah, but that
I hope
doesn't,
it works this way.
it doesn't happen that way.
Well, it's gonna start pretty soon because people are gonna get disgusted. We all know.
Well,
You get to the point, you move.
the people that are gonna be renting these units, they're not gonna be able to afford to buy a house, not in my neighborhood. They might be able to afford to buy a house in Lakeville or Brockton, but they can't afford to buy a house in Quincy, not right now. So they're gonna be renting these apartments. These apartments, some of these two-bedroom apartments are gonna be bigger than the houses that are selling for over $500,000. I mean, I think it's not only does it, and they cut the affordability rate from 6 to 5. So obviously, that sixth family, a sixth person that wanted to rent one of these low-income units, pitch a tent up at Faxon Park.
Well, the money goes in a fund for them and there's other buildings that are built.
But I would hope that the project
Goes towards the fund.
is looked upon favorably because you're taking a commercial area and giving a place for people to live. And it's not like they're traveling from Mears Ave through the city to the highway. The entrance from this building to the highway is about 100 yards.
I know, it's right there.
I mean, they're going to Boston, they're not going to be traveling through the city, and that's 100.
North to south, you're right.
It's a win-win, I think. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for hanging in tonight. Is there anyone else want to speak in favor? Second call? Third call? Any correspondence? 10 pages? Wow.
And just read the cover letter. That's a lot about DPW.
Yeah.
We can post those and just read them.
Yeah, you can, quick, just give me an overview.
Just read the first page.
You guys got that letter, you've dealt with everything on the letter anyway.
All right,
So there's a letter-
ZBA
there's a letter on the fax from the
25-25.
DPW. One second, there's a letter in there, we're gonna read it, but facts are like page and pages, and they have to adhere to it. If you wanna
I've
hear it or
uploaded
see
it
it, it's up here. Give them a rough idea with the just 3 or 4 things. you're looking
All
at
right,
there.
ZBA -25-2592 Willard Street. Zoning Board of Appeals receives a copy of a written communication from City of Quincy DPW Engineering Department. The applicant responsible to this application dated May 19, 2025. Document is available to the public and be viewed on the ZBA website. It will become part of the decision of this application.
And they went through everything, they go through everything that they need, and they've already been dealt with, almost everything on that list, and it has to be dealt with if this does pass, or it don't pass, they don't have to worry about it. Is there anyone who'll call that part of the hearing closed? Oh, yeah, I got that too. We'll do that after. Is there anyone opposed or undecided? Please step forward, state your name and address for the record.
Good evening. Thank you for hearing me. My name is Estelle Malamas. I live at 63 Robertson Street. I've lived there for 65 to 66 years of my life. I grew up in the neighborhood. I knew Jack McDonald. I knew everybody in the neighborhood. Well, things have changed quite a bit, as you know. But I'm not a contractor. My taxes never go down. They never will go down. They're only going to go up. The traffic is astronomical, as it is now, through the neighborhood, the parking. I think they should make them pay for parking. It's not required that everybody buys parking, because if I didn't have the money and they're requiring, so much money a month to park, I wouldn't buy it, and I'd be doing what you said, parking in the neighborhood, which we already have a problem with. I live on the corner of Ellis Street. Sometimes I can't get out of my driveway. I have to wait. The street is so congested with cars now, and that's just from the general area, that it's no longer a two-way street. It's a one-way street because it's not passable because the cars are parked on the street. It's becoming dangerous to back in and out of your driveway. If you're coming around Robertson Street to go into Ellis Street, there's been almost accidents. I've seen things that have been crazy. People are yelling at each other. There's going to be fights and everything. Somebody crashed into the stop sign, knocked it onto my property. Excuse me. Knocked it onto my property, and they hit the signs all the time and crash into it. Go right up over the curb. I was at the corner of Ellis Street and Robertson Street one day, and somebody stopped to let me go. And the person passed them on the double side, almost crashed into me and caused a huge accident. It happens. I see it so much now in Quincy. Anyways, my point is I am in opposition to the proposed project. I know all my neighbors are. I wish they were all here tonight, but I think they all got very disappointed and discouraged with the size and the massity of this project. So I'm in opposition of the proposed project and request the owner and the developer to abide by the zoning ordinance, which I was under the impression states that you can only build a maximum of 4 stories in a Business B zoning district. I want the contractor to follow the ordinance and reduce the 4 stories and reduce it to 4 stories maximum, which would be more comparable to the neighborhood. The neighbors would be more acceptable of it if it was shorter. It's massive. It's massive for the location and the part of the neighborhood that it's going to be constructed in. If it's higher, it will not blend in to the neighborhood. I actually get sickened when I look at that picture. I hate to say it, but I do. It really upsets me very much. It looks like a Boston neighborhood. This is a neighborhood of mostly 2 to 4 stories. Darcy's been there forever, 2 stories. I went to Gridley Bryant School, 2 stories in a basement. Posing right across from Quarry Street, 2 stories in a basement. The new condos that the McDonald's had built and sold the property to for the condos on Quarry Street behind the fish and chicken in the village stores. It's only 2 stories. It complies with the neighborhood. It fits in with the neighborhood. Most of the buildings around there are the same size. So when you put something this massive, everybody's upset. Right on the curb, no setback. The trees, the colors,
All right, man, you're gonna have to wrap it up. The time's getting late.
Okay, but I want to finish what I like to say.
You
If
can.
it's higher, it will not blend into the neighborhood. It will appear as massive. Robertson Quarry Street are lower, and that Willard Street, and the building will overpower the neighborhood, which it will. I'm asking the zoning board to please consider the people in the neighborhood and deny the special permit and the variance, because the people are what counts. I'll be able to see that building from my house down the street. I don't want to see that. It's bad enough when you go up to the corner and you turn the corner, it's like that. It's just massive. I hope you would consider the people who live there, and I'm one of them. If you live there, I'm sure you wouldn't want to see this yourself. So please consider that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else? Opposed or undecided?
Good evening, Bill Zamsell, 46 Tilden Circle, Quincy. I no longer live in that neighborhood, but I did, and I understand the problems with the flow. This ask is over the top. The key problem is the request of a reduction in the setback to roughly 20% of what it was before. You're going to have property right on top of the streets. That's crazy. You've already got a bad enough problem, the short little run of Robertson going to Quarry, where it's a cattle chute. That poor house that's on Quarry and Robertson. The guy's got ballards in his parking spot, and people are still taking his fence out more, probably 4 times a year. Somebody's going to get killed. This project should, I appreciate all the improvements you're going to be doing on the site, but you have to make those improvements to do the construction. You got to address drainage, blah, 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 blah. This project should be pressed to provide an easement to make Robertson a little wider street. Allow perhaps a right turn lane so people can jet up on Quarry Street and get out of Dodge. You got a little bit of trouble on the backside. Those streets need to be worked on the backside on Quarry and getting to Bigelow and then Willard on the other side. There's enough space, but the roads need to be restructured. This is just too big a project on there. In terms of traffic, they're going to be right on top of the highway. That's a good thing. They're not going to be schlepping, from the condos and apartments up on top of Quarry Street. But the fact of the matter is, they're going to be jumping the line to get on the bridge, get onto the highway. And I don't know about you, but when I drive around town, a lot of drivers get really cranky when somebody jumps a line in them. I didn't have a car for 5 years. I've got one again, and it's like every time I go out, it's a near-death experience. There's a term for those kind of drivers, but I'm not going to use it tonight's meeting. We all know that term. That needs to be addressed, and it's not being done. It's just not being done. Then the mass of it is it's over the top. It's just way too big for the setting. You can help with the setback, but then you don't get the 48 units. There's not an economic hardship here to grant this waiver. The owner owns the properties, owned it a long time. They could make some revenue. They could go smaller and do just fine. This is an opportunity to make some money. Then you've got the argument, well, gee whiz, it's going to bring tax revenue to the city. Well, that's all well and good, but the problem is it's not the revenue issue, it's the spend by City Hall. They're doing 8.6 increase on the budget this year. It's 3 times the rate of inflation. They're not including about $25 million worth of expenses, which I don't know how they're going to pay for it. The real budget increase this year, if you look at it on an honest accrual basis, they're at 11% and change for this year. That's the second increase. We're looking at the second roughly 10% increase in the 2 of the last 3 years, and we're looking at probably solid, legitimate 7 or 8% increases to the rest of the decade. That's a spending problem. That's not so the taxes are just going to keep going. And we've got a decline in commercial. They're talking about redoing Summer Crown Colony and go to residential from commercial. You've got the crazy project where they want to redo the project where the Family Dollar store is next to Star Market, and they want to get a tax break. And they want to put it in the downtown district. Well, guess what? That'll cap the revenue from that area to 1% a year increases, with all incremental new growth going to paying off the debt to build Apparently talk of a parking garage to help out the developer that the city is going to help fund. That's not development, folks. That's going to help out the homeowners. And this isn't going to help out the neighborhood. 25, 30 units setback, fine. I can see it. But right now you've got you're creating a cattle chute coming off the highway. And you've already got traffic problems now. You got to rethink this. I mean, the setback ask is just out of line, and you've got to rethink it. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Anyone else opposed or undecided? Last call?
Undecided letter. I don't know.
I'm gonna call, yeah, I got a letter here that's, yeah, just give it to Russ. She's against the project. I'll put it under the no column.
Michael Cindy Leahy. Hi, Kathy. 19 Willow Street Zoning Board of Appeals, meeting June 10th. I am unsure that my husband and I will be able to make it. We are against the 48 units that are looking too dense for our neighborhood. My daughter tells me how many near misses she has, and she's getting afraid. T-bone entering Willard Street is dangerous. Apartment building is not set back far enough from the street. There's not enough green space. They want less than half required green space per required unit. Aesthetically ugly. Parking is insufficient, 84 spots, 24 short of what's required. Height, they claim 5 stories, but when it all stakes out, it's going to look like 6 stories because of extra space on top. Thank you so much for your careful consideration. Michael and Cindy Leahy, 85 Rogers Street.
Thanks. Well, that part of hearing closed. Some statements are made and people made and back and forth from the developer to the people that live in that area. And if this building, right now, if that building wasn't where it was, I wouldn't vote yes. I wouldn't even think about it. But where it is, yeah, I think it's an easy take. That's all, everyone's shooting right in the highway. You go on the highway, they're gonna take a left, go down, go around and come back. And it's not gonna be a big, you're going north or south, depending on where they're working. They're not riding to our city and they're in an apartment. You come home from work, did your thing, and you go to bed, you do your weekly. Where they're going on weekends, who cares? It's traffic everywhere. And traffic in the city is traffic because every damn road in the city's had new pipes, new drainage, new sewer, new water. And you know what? When it's all done and it's all pretty, everyone's gonna be happy. But it's like driving in freaking Beirut. It really is. It's, you can't go anywhere. There's a new hole in the street. There's a new project. We're trying to fill these up. Do I think that was Biden money? That's what I think a lot of it came from. Restructure your city while you can. The government's helping you. So, I'm not blaming the city or anyone on spending money not for that stuff at all. When I hear that, the gentleman speak about what they're doing, I think that's federal government money. But a project like this is something I think we need in the city. It's affordable, barely affordable, I guess. A couple go in there, they can make their payments and start their life together. But it's a good project. It's 16 feet difference in that. Talk about topographical trying to build something. I mean, you guys did it. I think you did a good job, a great job. I think it's a nice building. You get the parking what you need for the people, and it's right on the highway. So I'm going to be voting yes.
Oh, right.
I don't know if you can. Robinson, is there any way to make that a one-way? So only people come down, they got to go down the light and go around if they wanted to do that? Have you looked at it? Oh.
Wait, I'm sorry, I'm not sure.
You're saying the guy goes down Robinson, he's smashing and gets his house smashed in all the time, right?
Yeah.
So if you make the road one way and it's wide as it is, there'll be no accidents. And if anyone coming up, just gotta go around the block.
Well, make the driveway one way. Is that what you're?
Well, make the whole road one way coming up. So people don't cut through.
I think that when the city does the traffic safety study, they're gonna analyze all the roadways in that area, including Robertson Street.
Yep.
And they'll certainly make recommendations of some changes.
Yeah.
I think that's the intent. Whether that one way would work, I don't know. But I mean, I
It
think.
keeps people from cutting through when they're coming up. They cut through and then go over that street, so they're not going in front of the
But I
back
think this
corner
traffic
light.
safety.
Three lights.
Yeah, this traffic safety audit's gonna analyze all of those types of issues.
All right. Thank you. And also, this they did. They went over this, and over this. They got it down a number of units that the city thought was fair at the planning board, and they approved that, May of this year, right?
Does
And
the
that's
counselor want to talk?
Council, sorry.
No, it's fine.
All right.
I'm here to observe, thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I think that the project, I understand it's dense and I understand it's in a neighborhood that's relatively close, but the highway is right next to it. So if you're gonna have a project of this size, it's gonna be next to a highway, I think that you're minimizing the damage, so to speak, to the neighborhood as it is. Planning board has approved of this. I think it's a good project, so I'm in favor.
Well, they've done a good job fitting this building on this interesting piece of property. But I got two concerns. One is green space and the other is parking. You're 24 short of what's required. You said it's right near the highway. That would indicate you're going to drive.
Right, so
You're
they're not
still 24 short. I'm not finished yet, sir.
Okay.
So you're 24 short, your green space is minimal. So I won't be voting in favor of this.
I share the concerns about the green space. I manage property in the city. Your target market is likely people before they're married with children. They have dogs. And I think the lack of green space where their dogs are going to go to the bathroom. And I'm especially concerned about firm rules on the parking, so we're not infringing on the neighborhood with parking on the street. So as it stands, I would not vote for it.
Bill?
I'm in favor of it. I didn't realize that the site was as big as it is, 38,000 square feet. That's a big site up there.
Yeah.
The other thing is the way it's isolated from the impact inside of a neighborhood.
Yeah.
It sits on the outskirts of a neighborhood. And an alternative use in there is they've already turned down banks and pharmacies and a list of those. Now, I'd have a difficult time with that because then what you're doing is you're running into the stuff that you got with the car repair places, the automotive parts places, Home Depot, and so I think a residential use up there is legitimate. And the height fits as far as I'm concerned too, because the place on the corner of the Stedman and Quarry is similar, and it's half. You can't see it from Quarry. You can't see the first area there, but you go up the back and you can see that there's a large area in the back with a pool and park. I've never seen parking on the streets up there, and I've gone through there. I've never seen anybody parked on Robinson Street, I'm sorry.
When you're not parking in Quarry, you're gonna get killed.
There may be some up there, but if it is, it's gotta be short term. It can't be somebody sitting up there all night on that street. Stedman maybe, and a couple of the other side streets up there.
Yeah.
But like they said, if they own across the street on two sides, and I'm sure if they get jammed for parking, they'll be finding some way to get people on those two lots on the off hours. So I don't have a big concern with the parking. And again, I think it's a good use of the property as opposed to a commercial or business being in there. With a 4- or 3-story business building here, I think would be much more difficult. If you look in along there, all of the times I've traveled through there, I've never noticed the traffic from the adjacent residential buildings that are up there. And that's kind of just the way.
It's right next to the highway, I know what you're saying. It's like, it's an easy.
Yeah, even, I mean, there's a bus at the door.
You need some places to live.
But that's my opinion.
Yeah. Council,
May I
you want
address
to
the board?
address something, Ms. Barry?
Yeah, well, first of all, I just wanted to, I apologize. I didn't mean to, I thought you were asking me the question. So with regard to parking, we're not asking for parking relief. Parking relief has already been granted by the planning board by way of a parking waiver. And we discussed that at length with the planning board and the city's traffic department analyzing the appropriate number of spaces for this. But this is at 1.75 spaces per dwelling unit. And the planning board, as this board may be aware, has been permitting projects throughout the city at a 1.5. And that's a 1.5 is really where they want you to be at the parking ratio. So at 1.75, we actually exceeded that. And if you know, the city's zoning ordinance in Business B actually provides for its own category of parking in residential at 1.5. 1.75 was what was required in a Residence C zoning district, which is what this zoning district becomes. So with regard to parking, we feel very comfortable, not only that we're meeting the city's demands when it comes to the planning department's requests, but also we analyze this by way of the traffic numbers. And the city's traffic engineer and the peer review have all seconded the opinion that there is sufficient parking for this proposal at 1.75. So I hear your comments about traffic, but I think that that's been analyzed by the traffic professionals, and we feel really comfortable that we can adequately address the parking in this. With regard to green spaces, there's really not much we can do. We did, however, in responding to the city's planning department, provide for a dog bags and receptacles, and we opened up the area in the front of the unit that provides, you can see in this area, green space for the folks that do have dogs, and we put trash receptacles in there at the request of the planning department. If anyone ever asks and talks about dogs, it's Jim Fatsis from the planning department. I think probably that's like the first question he asks of me whenever I present a proposal is, well, where are the dogs gonna poop? Where are the dogs gonna go? We spent actually pretty good attention to that. And Mike knows too, because he has other projects where Mike has implemented a DNA system where parties that rent units in their building are required to provide DNA from their dog. And there's a system where he can track their dogs, and if they don't appropriately pick up after their dogs, they're fined. And that system's been put in place in all of the other units and buildings that he's operated. We certainly hear your concerns about green space, but we feel like we've added significant landscaping to this site where it doesn't exist today. And we did spend particular attention to ensure that there is an area where people can take their pets out, and the receptacles will be provided there as well. So I hear your concerns. We worked about 2 years on this proposal. We worked really hard with the planning department, made changes to this proposal to make it work better. We understand this is a dense proposal, but we feel like the location really fits and is well suited for the site. If there's any opportunity for the folks, you members of the board, to reconsider their positions, we'd very much appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Guys, what's up? Is anything gonna change here? I mean, I didn't know there was a dog thing there either. I had no idea.
What's that?
No.
Yeah.
And I swore I'd never have one again in my life.
And O'Rourke Park is also.
I saw this little cockapoo.
And O'Rourke Park is within very close walking distance to this location with significant green space and opportunity for dogs.
Yeah.
I could be persuaded if there's a firm commitment that the parking spaces are truly allocated to the units.
One per bedroom, right?
Well, I don't want to be in a situation where someone's choosing not to rent parking and parking on the street instead. And I don't believe the parking should be able to be rented to anybody who does not reside in the building.
I can answer that pretty simply. So it's going to go either way. So if we include parking, the rent's just going to be higher.
That's fine.
And that's fine too.
Then they can go live
And
somewhere
we can
else.
we can just say that. That's all.
Yes, I
I
want
don't
the
have any
parking
problem with
included
that.
in the rent.
That's fine.
And
have any
I don't
problem
want
with
any spaces to be rented to non-residents of the building.
Absolutely.
Correct. Yep. Absolutely not. That would never happen. We wouldn't want that anyhow. I don't have that anywhere in any other building.
So you're going to change it so the leases will state a parking space, designated parking space?
I will have in the lease where you have, if you unit 213, it'll be pretty much set up like a condo building where there'll almost be like a deeded space, no different than if you did a condominium. It'd be deeded space. But what happens sometimes is you'll get a complaint and then they want to park somewhere else because they're next to something or they have a bigger car or the way they can get in and out next to a column because there are columns. So we can do that, yes. But what I will do is I'll have it in the lease where it'll show the parking space and it'll have the breakdown, but they don't have the option of not paying for it.
And there'll be no ability to rent it out to.
Correct, absolutely.
What is the width of the average parking space in your garages?
Consistent with the ordinance, 9 feet by 18 feet.
Okay, so
They're all-
none of the spaces are smaller than 9 feet wide?
They're all compliant.
And then what
Correct.
about your SUVs? How are you going to handle the Tahoes and the Range Rovers?
They're in every other building I have.
Okay, they can fit in the 9-foot spaces? Okay.
Can I have a motion, please?
Look,
Oh, go ahead.
I'm going to change my vote considering that he's adding that language to the lease
Okay,
where the spots are non-transferable.
yep,
Can I make it part of the conditions, Mr.?
yeah,
Yes,
yes.
and I'll change my vote to yes in that circumstance.
All right, all right.
I will change my vote pending the parking regulations being very firmly and clearly stated.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Chairman,
Parking as stated on that, too.
ZBA 2525 Ward 4, 622 Quarry LLC for a special permit and variance to raise the existing structures and to construct a 5-story, 48-unit residential structure with parking underneath on the premises, number 92 Willard Street, Quincy, Mass. Move to allow it with additional language requiring that the parking be included with each lease. Is that how you want that
That's
word?
And a poopy check.
Check out. Excuse me, ma'am, you're not called on, you're not here to speak now. This is our turn to speak, thank you.
That is the only language.
That's the language you wanted, that's what you got, yep. Want seconded?
Second.
On the motion, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Very much appreciate your consideration. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Motion adjourned,
Move to adjourn.
seconded,
Second.
That's all you need.
all in favor? Hey, guys, ladies, can you sign them?
Sign one more before you go?
Yep.